absolutely not least, we have the NFC South. And look, I don't care what anybody says. Oh, this is the worst division. Oh, this is the champion might not have a winning record. I think you are beautiful, NFC South. I love football, and I can find the intrigue anywhere, including right here, where there's plenty to be juiced about, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm tired of hearing about how uninteresting this team is in the wake of Tom Brady's retirement. There's something to be intrigued by, and that's how they move on from Tom Brady. We'll get to Baker Mayfield. I get it. But the teams, the players that were there in Tampa with Tom Brady, they're all still there. That's what I think is so interesting. Mike Evans, I need to double check this probably. I know he's been connected to the trade market, but Mike Evans is still a Tampa Bay Buck. Chris Godwin is still a Tampa Bay Buck. Tristan Wirfs, really excited to see him move from right tackle to the left side in his 4th NFL season. He's still there, one of the best young tackles in football. Did I mention Levante David and Devin White, one of the best linebacker duos in the NFL? Yup, still there. Their secondary is still intact. Like, this is a pretty good roster. Aging maybe, but a pretty good roster. All comes down to the quarterback. Does the Bake Show have any magic left? Can Baker Mayfield play like that guy we saw on that one magical night in Los Angeles last year? Or is it the guy we've seen for most of the last 2 years? Look, I get it. I understand why people are down on the Bucs. I don't know if Baker Mayfield's going to be any good. Recent history suggests probably not. But I do think it's interesting. There's a lot of talent on this team. Todd Bowles is in a big situation in his second year as the head coach. I mean, if the Bucs can't get it done, you're talking about turning over the page on an entire era of Buccaneer football. Because if Baker Mayfield can't win games, most of these guys won't be here, hell, by the trade deadline, or at the very least when the season's over. So I'm interested. The Bucs won this division despite being bad last year. And I know even last year of his career, Tom Brady is still a massive upgrade over Baker Mayfield. But if he can be decent, I think there's talent here to be surprising. I don't get why people are so quick to write them off. And what about the newcomer? What about the number 1 overall pick? Again, why are people down on this division when the guy drafted first, Bryce Young, is in Carolina looking to lead them into a new era? I think this stuff is fascinating. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm a lot more scared and a lot less bullish on the Panthers than I was after watching Bryce Young run for his life in the preseason. Ike Ekwonu, also a first-round pick, needs to pick his level of play up if the Panthers are going to win any games, because I don't think they have enough talent on offense for Bryce Young to do this all on his own. Adam Thielen is there now, but I just don't know if that's enough. Miles Sanders is on a big running back contract, really the only running back that got paid this offseason. If the offensive line isn't better than it looked in August, this could be a much longer season. And then you flip it over, it's the same thing. I'm very excited about the Panthers defense. I think it's incredibly underrated. You look at it, if J.C. Horn, the cornerback, can stay healthy, Brian Burns, one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL, we'll figure out if his holdout ends, if he's going to play. But the talent is there on the defensive side of the ball for the Panthers. If Bryce Young doesn't have to do this all by himself, if he can hang in the pocket and make throws, this is a feisty team. I don't think it's insane to think that they could contend for the division. I will admit that idea felt a little more realistic in May than it does in September. But hey, that's why they play the games. What about my hometown team? Yes, the New Orleans Saints. I have covered the Dallas Cowboys for a very, very long time, but I am from the Big Easy, and I cannot wait to see what Derek Carr does in a different uniform for the first time in his career. Again, on paper, the Saints are set up to be a hell of a spoiler. Like, this is a team that's been competitive in the post-Drew Brees era, floated around 500, been alive on the last weekend of the season. But in terms of legitimately making noise, it's been 4 or so years. Sean Payton's off in Denver trying to fix Russell Wilson. I can't wait to see if Derek Carr can take this team to a new level. And I'm here to tell you that I think is possible. The only problem for the Saints is that their roster is damn near qualified for the early bird special. There's just so many older players here. Cam Jordan, I love you, dude, but let's call it what it is. I mean, been in the league since 2011. Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, love you even more coming from my alma mater, LSU. But again, these are guys that need to stay healthy, need to stay productive. Michael Thomas, are we talking ourselves into a Michael Thomas bounce back? Because if we do, the Saints could be nasty. The most important part of this, okay, again, we just talked about how people think the division is down. Are you aware that the Saints have the easiest strength of schedule in the entire NFL? Do you know that the Saints only play 4 teams that had a winning record last year? It's right there for them. If Derek Carr plays up to the expectation, if he plays like a guy that was worthy of a massive contract after getting cut by the Las Vegas Raiders, the Saints, partially because of their talent and partially because they don't play very many good teams, they could make a lot of noise. They could have a surprising record by the end of the season. It's going to be very exciting to see, A, if they can stay healthy enough to do that, and B, if Derek Carr can fulfill that potential. Wrapping it up, more like a soccer team than a football team, honestly. The Atlanta Falcons trying their best to play positionless football with Arthur Smith calling the shots. I don't completely understand it, but I think it's going to be very fun to watch. Like, I don't know if the Falcons are contenders, but you should try to put them on TV as often as you can, whether it's Bijan Robinson, whether it's Kyle Pitts, who is a massive receiver playing tight end, Tyler Algier. They invented a new position this week. Did you see this? Cordarrelle Patterson plays Joker now, apparently. That's not even a thing. They're just going to roll 11 athletic freaks out on the field and see what they can do behind a great offensive line. And it all comes down to the quarterback, Desmond Ridder. That's the one thing I don't know if I feel great about. 3rd round pick out of Cincinnati. I think we're not really talking enough about the fact that Desmond Ridder was very up and down in his audition at the end of last season after Marcus Mariota got benched. I don't know how great it's going to look, but they've certainly given him the talent to work with. I didn't mention Drake London. Again, freaking skyscraper of a wide receiver with the wingspan of a bird of prey. It's going to be incredibly fun to watch. Like I said, I don't know how good the Falcons are going to be, but I think they're going to be one of the most entertaining teams in the league. And in a division with no clear favorite, you shouldn't be surprised if they're on top of it at the end of the year. I think I probably gave my pick for this division away just with the way I was talking. Yes, I am rolling with the Who Dat Nation. I don't know if the Saints have the juice to make it to another Super Bowl, but I do think they win this division, and I honestly think they win it kind of easily. Like maybe a 2022 Vikings kind of vibe where you're like, I don't know how good this team actually is, but damn if they don't have 13 wins. Yes, that's what I see coming from the New Orleans Saints in 2023.